Hello everyone, welcome to today's episode of Katie and Joe on the Go. Today we are finally going to add some insulation to the van. Over the last few hours, I've disassembled the passenger sliding door, this door, the rear and the two rear doors, taking them apart, added Kil-Mat, added insulation, and added the Low-E Reflective. And that is basically my next step is going to be the rest of the van. So we're using 3 different kind of compounds or fabrics or things like that for insulation. Number 1 is Kil-Mat, and Kil-Mat is sound deadening first and foremost. It does have a slight R value, but it's nothing spectacular, like at all. From there, we're adding Thinsulate, and Thinsulate is like basically like what you would hear. I will grab it. We have 2 of these. I think we got 70 linear feet, which should be enough for the transit. It comes in a giant roll. We have 2 of them, and it's compressed right now because it was like rolled pretty tight when it was shipped, but it's about 1/2 inch right now, and it's gonna balloon up to about 1.5 inches over the next few days once it's set. We're going to use 3M spray adhesive, like 3M 90 spray adhesive, this stuff. Spray it down, spray it on the walls, wait about 60 seconds or so, and then add this on. Once that dries to my liking, we will then add this Low-E Reflective, which is this stuff, which like is basically like the stuff that you would have on your windshield. Yeah, the stuff you would add on your windshield as like a sun blocker. Basically, it reflects sun out and keeps heat in, or reflects cold out and keeps the heat in. It's really interesting stuff. Basically, it works really well when there's like an air pocket between them. So like in a perfect world, what I was reading is like if you're like doing a garage, you would put this on like the wall of the garage, and then you would have another like pocket 6 inches out of another layer of this, and then 6 inches away you have another layer of this. And it just basically traps the air and does a really good job of that. Since we don't have that opportunity in a van, we're gonna do the best that we can and hope that this works. We have 1 roll of this, which I think is like 40 feet, and then 2 rolls of this, which is I think combined like 70 feet, and that is what all the recommendations that we're seeing so far online is saying what it's going to take to do. But I guess we'll check back in at the middle part of this video to see how it's going. This seems very straightforward, honestly. It seems like, measure, cut, put some spray down, push, and hopefully it stays. I think it's going to do a lot, but I don't know how much it's going to do, because basically the moment you open up a door or a window or something like that, all of that heat or all of that cool is gone. So this is really, I feel like we're insulating for when we're sleeping or something like that, when the doors are closed or the heater's working, you want to keep all the heat in on a really cold day, something like that. I guess the same insulation principles are applicable to a house, right? The moment you open a door, all of the air conditioning kind of leaves. At least that's what I remember being yelled at as a child when it was 110 degrees in Arizona, and I would keep the door open for no good reason. So let's jump in. And actually, you know what? It's almost 2:30, so it is 2:30, so it's Formula 1 time. So I'm gonna get that going on my phone, and then we're gonna start a time lapse of me. I think I'm gonna start with the roof. Since this was going to be the last time the interior metal was going to be bare and attainable, I wanted to add all the extra Kil-Mat we had in the garage for even more sound deadening. I started off by measuring the spaces between the ribs of the roof that needed 3M Thinsulate, then cutting them with heavy-duty fabric scissors. The Thinsulate did not like to be cut, but if you keep tension on both sides, the scissor did a better job. From there, I would spray the bare metal with 3M 90 spray adhesive, making sure I waited the 60 seconds needed to tack up, then press the Thinsulate firmly onto it. It stuck immediately, so make sure you measure it 5 times, cut it once, and apply it once, since there's really no opportunities to redo it. So, ran out of spray adhesive, so on my way to Ace to go buy basically all of the 3M. I used 3 cans of that spray adhesive from 390, or like the 3M 90, just for the roof. 3 full cans. I'm probably gonna go get 6 more. The first step in insulating the rear doors of our Transit was to take the plastic trim piece off using the automotive trim piece tools we purchased on Amazon. Link in bio. It took some time prying, but eventually it came off. Since this was the first time we've had access to the rear doors, we added Kil-Mat to help with the sound insulation. The passenger side door had a plastic membrane that surrounded electronic components. The entire piece, including the adhesive, was removed and reattached easily. I unrolled another roll of the 3M Thinsulate and added it to the doors with 3M 90 Spray Adhesive. Then I added the Low-E Reflective before reinstalling the plastic trim piece. The sliding passenger door followed the same recipe as the rear doors. First, we used the automotive trim removal tool to remove the large plastic trim piece. Remove the plastic membrane that protects the electronics. Apply a layer of Kil-Mat for sound deadening. Use the 3M 90 Spray Adhesive to attach the 3M Thinsulate. Add the Low-E Reflective. Then reattach the plastic trim piece. Once the doors were finished, I started the same process to the passenger side, working my way from the roof down to the floor. The middle section had some pretty large chunks of 3M Thinsulate that needed some extra 3M 90 Spray Adhesive and pressure to attach fully to the wall. There were a lot of nooks and crannies in the transit, so I ripped off a bunch of Thinsulate and started shoveling the Thinsulate in as far as I could. Katie came back from her job in Texas and we were ready to add the 3M Thinsulate to the driver's side. With 2 people, the job took basically half the time. One person cutting, while the other person was spraying adhesive and attaching the Thinsulate to the walls. Okay, so next up in the process of insulation is adding Low-E. We're going back and forth because the idea of Low-E is that it has kind of like a space between the insulation to capture the air. So we're trying to figure that out with this tubing for wires and all of that. So instead, we're just going to do this big piece first. Basically the frame is going, or the box that we're going to build out, the bump out, is going to go up against it. So all of this is going to be covered. So we thought that would be easy. And we're going to just start moving. We used the Sika Pro Select tape that was made specifically for the Low-E Reflective. It easily attached to the metal of the walls as well as smaller pieces together. We're going to link to the tape in the description of the video, so if you want to pick it up, you can. Since the Low-E does not weigh very much, we were able to use much larger cuts to cover the walls versus the Thinsulate. With the large sides covered, we moved into filling the nooks and crannies of the transit with the Low-E, a time-consuming process that we hope is going to keep the van at a better temperature during the different seasons we'll live in it. This is where the video is going to get a bit crazy. We do not want to add the Low-E Reflective to the roof yet because we had not started framing out the walls. So here's a clip from a few weeks in the future. As for the insulating of the headliner, we made a separate video on that topic because we found a way of doing it without removing the entire headliner like everyone says you need to do. Keep an eye on the channel, that should be next. Now we don't have an ending to this video, so here it is. We hope this video was helpful. If it was, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and make sure you follow along on our journey.